All right, all right. What's happening with my friend Aaron Chivitares? It's been a minute. It's great to see you again, brother. I always see you swimming and doing your SUP in Lake Lugano, wherever you are in Switzerland, and it's always inspiring to see the positivity and the energy that you bring, even through just some silly Facebook stories. And before we dive in today, I want to acknowledge you for that because you've always come across as a very joyful and positive guy, even though obviously I know that behind scenes business is tough as fuck and it's not always uh, but still you always come across as someone who's willing to like give, radiate good energy, help others, and so I just want to acknowledge you for that before we dive in.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it, man. I mean, I want to
Yeah.
acknowledge you too, bro. Similar with you. We all know in business, there's cycles, there's ups and downs, there's great days, there's bad days, there's days you want to cry all day, and there's days you want to celebrate
Hmm.
all day. It's just part of the life. We've chosen entrepreneurship, and entrepreneurship is
Hmm.
hard. And anyone who thinks it's easy, they should just stick to their 9 to 5, right? But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
I'm grateful for the hardships. I'm grateful for the challenges. And I chose this lifestyle. I chose to work remotely on the online space where it's very volatile because at the end of the day, I can spend time with my wife. We were just supping, like you say, literally an hour ago. It's why I'm kind of sunburnt, right? My wife and I were out
Yeah.
supping. She's pregnant. We're like out there going for it. I'm taking pictures of her and stuff and sending them to her
Yeah.
family. And we're having fun. And then half an hour later, I'm here talking to you. And then today I've got like, I don't know, 5 or 6 calls on our new offer I'm testing, and
Hmm.
then a couple meetings. It's a great day. So super
Yes.
grateful and happy you reached out to jump on a podcast too, man. It's nice to see you.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And well, let's start there in terms of how do you stay grounded and balanced amidst all the ups and downs. And let's start with you specifically as an individual with your habits. Like, what are some of those daily habits that help you stay grounded amidst all the ups and downs?
Yeah, man, I love it. So, for me personally, I think like a lot of people, I find specific habits that I like to turn into not even so much a habit, it's just like a way of life. It's
Hmm.
more of like an I am statement, right? I choose to live this way. And actually, I had a feeling that you were going to ask me about habits being the High Energy Habit podcast. I had a sneaking suspicion this might come up, Daniel. So I actually have this here, this written out thing. It's framed. I have this on my wall
Uh,
over by my vision board, and I'll just read for you quickly what
yeah,
it what it says
go
here.
ahead.
It says core values, core choices, core habits. And I have
Hmm.
those all dialed in for myself and a couple affirmations that I have here. But my
Nice.
core habits, daily lenses and affirmations. So I don't know if
Hmm.
you remember at BJKU back in the day, lenses,
Yes.
still doing lenses every day, bro. Lenses is it's a foundational thing for me. It's like gratitude. What am I going to get done today? Um,
Hmm.
Talking about chunking down things. It's a very similar to a lot of people's morning routine, I'm sure. So I make sure I do
Hmm.
that every day. I have on here reading the Bible and other holy scriptures, right?
Hmm.
So I never grew up religious at all, but I'm very interested in all types of religion and the underlying lessons in there. And I'm also interested in sort of more like Neville Goddard type of perspectives on religion. So I like reading this kind of stuff, and I do that in the
Nice.
morning um, because it aligns me on the day that, hey, there's a lot going on outside of this little chaos that you're feeling, this tornado in the moment, right? Um,
Yeah.
Reading and listening to books, obviously, that's a huge one for me. Audiobooks, every day on the treadmill, I'm listening to an audiobook. Meditation and visualization, you and I have a lot in common that way. Um,
Yeah.
a hack that I have found is when I go to the gym, there's a sauna, and I jump in the sauna every day there, sauna, steam, cold shower, kind of a routine. And when I go in
Hmm.
the sauna, I do 20 minutes in, and I have a 20-minute meditation that I listen to every single time. It's a visualization, quantum jumping, timeline sort of jumping. You go way back, you go way forward, and you
Hmm.
visualize the timeline multiple times over. It's exactly
Yeah.
20 minutes, and my sauna session is exactly 20 minutes. So I sit in there, I listen to it, cross-legged, zenned out, very Daniel style, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And I do that every day, which is awesome. Exercising, and then at the very bottom, I have a habit that I'm really trying to cultivate: invest first and spend second.
Ah, interesting. And yeah, and that's something that I definitely want to dive deep into today. And so that meditation, is that the one that you recorded?
It's one of them, yes. So what I've
Ah,
actually done
okay.
is the ones that I recorded, those were an inspiration from one of my mentors. And so I listen to his recordings, not my own. I can't listen to
Ah,
myself on
okay.
meditations. It's weird to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But the
yeah.
team
I
has
have
a
a
bunch.
similar
We have
feeling.
about 20 that the team listens to. Yeah.
Ah, okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do sauna and steam also,
Nice.
meditating pretty much every day. We have a really cool facility here where we live in our apartment.
Yeah.
Um,
What are some of the other sort of core habits that keep you grounded? Because you're one of the most
yeah.
grounded center guys I've ever met, and it comes through in your
Mhm.
tonality, right? So
Mm.
what is it for you?
Yeah, for me, it's from the moment that I wake up every day and I open my eyes, even before opening my eyes, smiling
Oh,
and connecting with that energy of gratitude, even though I'm maybe stressed or maybe I had a nightmare, maybe I'm jet lagged, I'm traveling, whatever is going on, I just like rewired my brain to smile as soon as I wake up. And I remember the hardest moments for me and like near-death experiences when I wasn't able to like breathe or even like the thought of waking up the next day wasn't guaranteed. And that's it's like what I think Brad Lee says, like, if how would you feel if they gave you $10 million or $10 billion? Say, well, yeah, it'd feel amazing, but how would you feel if you couldn't wake up tomorrow, right? So how come you don't wake up every day feeling like $1 million? And so that's kind of the main habit for me. And then just small things like whenever I catch my brain in some kind of negative pattern, I'm just like, oh, hold on, that like what's going on there? Let's step back and let's
mm,
realign with what's actually beneficial to me.
yeah.
So I think those are kind of the two main things, like gratitude and then kind of pattern interrupting myself every time I feel like, I don't know, fearful or some kind of uh, procrastination, or I just catch
Anxiety.
myself and okay, yeah, let's just that's fine, but what do I really want to do today that's gonna bring me closer to who I really want to become, if that makes sense.
Yeah. There's an interesting book. I'm sure maybe you've read it or heard of it. If you haven't, it's amazing. Power versus Force,
Yep.
by Hawkins, right?
Yes.
So one of the things he mentions in there is you know, the energy of power versus being forced, right? The high energy of yeah, I'm empowered to do this thing and I'm grateful for doing it and I have the energy to go do that right now or to lead or whatever it may be, or you're forcing, right? And so I think when you say like smiling despite of, how you're feeling and pattern interrupting yourself, it's almost like you're finding a little switch internally that is allowing you to raise up in consciousness and in your vibe, and it puts you into this powerful state, right? So you're finding little triggers and ways and having little tools. And I would encourage everyone to find little tools. I also have little tools throughout the day that if I'm
Hmm.
finding myself low or anxious or thinking negatively, or I'm just not super happy about life like I should be, I'll find a little trigger to go up into the powerful state, right? Because if you're
Yeah.
forcing things, it doesn't work. Just like in sales, right? You can't force someone to buy. They need to want to buy it, right?
Hmm.
So how do you do that? You empower them and empower their decision, and you raise their consciousness up, allow them to make the decision and actually step into their power, right? It's the same thing. We're just doing it for ourselves.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's like the Buddhist monks, they used to say like micro practices. For sure, you can do like a
Mm,
formal meditation practice and sit down for 1 or 2 or 3 hours. But what's more important is how you integrate that through micro practices in your daily life, like just feeling your feet on the ground, that connection with the earth,
yeah,
softening your breath, your chest, your belly, feeling your spirit and like the the energy that you can share with other people, like those small practices that actually create you as a human being, because we're
yeah,
just the results of those daily small habits.
yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, and because you've had such an interesting journey and you've done so many weird things in your life, when did you
It's
realize
an understatement. Yeah.
that, yeah, when did you realize that like energy, mindset was that important to you?
Um, I think there's sort of two times in life when I realized this. The first time was after I graduated from my master's in Switzerland for hotelier management, right? So international hospitality stuff. I went into corporate, and my wife and I both worked in corporate hotels around the world and climbed the ladder. We were both executives in like Fairmont and Mandarin Orientals and these types of places. And I realized that while I was in this corporate structure and doing well on the outside, I was also living in Asia. And I was now observing a very different type of lifestyle. I'm from a very small Canadian, like lumberjack, redneck town. I'm proud of it. It's awesome. My family's firemen and redneck lumberjacks, literally. But like, I've never been around incense burning, or any of that type of a vibe. And in
Yeah.
Singapore, especially, I saw a lot of sort of um, Chinese influence, uh, and I was thinking like, huh, there's more, there's more. And so my wife and I, we would go on trips. We would go to Bali, or we would go
Hmm.
to, all these different little islands around Asia, and we would go like almost every weekend. And
Mm.
every time we would go there, a little piece of me would remain there. And what I mean by that is I would go, we'd burn some incense, we'd sit down by the beach, and I'd be like, oh, like they're doing a yoga practice or something. My wife would be like, oh, that's interesting. I want to try that.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, yeah, put a flower in your hair and do some yoga. And maybe I'll smell the incense and look at the ocean. And I'm sort of like, damn, this is so much better than that corporate office that I have to go back to, And then I would
Hmm.
go back to it and I'd leave a little piece of me behind. I'd be like, there's something else. There's something higher. Like I feel higher. I'm lighter. I'm
Hmm.
happier. My eyes are whiter, all that.
Yeah.
And I did that for a few years. And so my first real sort of shift was understanding that there was more, right?
Hmm.
That led my wife and I to actually moving to a small island in Southeast Asia where we literally left our corporate behind and we
Hmm.
turned into literal beach hippies. And when I say beach hippie, I mean I didn't wear shoes. I wore only board shorts. All we did was enjoy the sunshine, meditate, do yoga, swim,
Drink
um,
coconut.
drink coconuts,
Mhm.
fast, and just hang out with those types of people strictly. And it was very, very cool. And we did that for a very long time, like almost a decade. During that time, I realized, wow, this is super empowering. And I can actually feel myself and who I truly am. But I also had a desire and a pull for more. So just like you, when you're networking or you're talking to people, you're going to events, you're shaking hands, you're raising up in the social echelon of life. I had
Hmm.
this pull like, you know what, I can't really do that from here,
Mm.
but I want to remain this version of me. So I now want to combine the enthusiasm for success where I was corporate sort of minded with this version of me who rocks beats and like enjoys the slower moments of life.
Hmm.
And so that second moment was I can combine those two things if I'm working for myself and I can do it on my own time, my own schedule, my own office, my own terms from home. I can still be that grounded version of me, but I can chase my dreams and aspirations to impact millions of lives, make millions of dollars, set my family up for the best lifestyle they could ever dream of, all at the same time. Right. So there's those two sort of moments, and I'm sure I'll have some more in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. And it's interesting because sometimes people, and even myself, we think that it's either or, right? It's either you're like living this spiritual life on the beach, or you're just like making a ton of money. And
Yeah.
it's clearly, well, a limiting belief. And part of the abundance mindset is the fact that you can have both, right? And so, how do you integrate those two worlds right now? Let's say in your day to day, as you are smashing the phones, talking to people, talking to clients, investors, team members. How do you integrate both?
Yeah, that's a good question. And that is really the secret sauce that I think a lot of people are searching for. You and I both know when you're chatting with, especially consumer-based prospects, you understand that their biggest pain and goal in life ever is I want time with my family and I want to make money at the same time. And it's quite interesting that that's what we end up doing in our industry. How you're integrating them both, for me, I am very intentional about it. I'm very intentional. So, an example, I'll just use my daily activity. So, living here in Switzerland, I don't really switch on for my work day. So, talking to the team, having our executive meetings, doing interviews, that kind of stuff, making some phone calls if we have a new offer I'm testing, right? Coaching the team, call reviews, all of that stuff. I don't typically start that until after lunch because I'm in Europe and most of the team is on like North American time, right? So my morning, say I start at 7 in the morning or whatever, it'll be like get up, go for a run, have some water, have some coffee, ice my
Hmm.
shins because they hurt from running, go for a
Yeah.
stand-up paddleboard with my wife, do some meditating, do some reading, maybe go for a walk, go downtown, go shopping. Like I have this entire sort of vacation lifestyle that is my
Hmm.
morning. And that
Hmm.
is like, it's sacred and I don't have any work on my mind. And the way that I do that is by literally not opening my phone. So
Hmm.
when I end my night, usually around midnight, our time here, I'll do my end of day sort of processes, my reports, and all the stuff I do. I'll sign off with the team. I'll give everyone a high five, hold a couple people accountable, and that's it. I won't see you again tomorrow until noon my time, but hey, guess what? No one's awake yet. So I'm still
Yeah.
early, right? So that's how I do it. And then when I'm working, so now it's in the afternoon, and I'll be here in my office for the next few hours. I'll take some calls on my deck because I like to look around, but my wife knows, and I make it very clear, like this is work time now. And
Hmm.
so I'm here, I'm locked in, I'm sort of in the lab, and
Yeah.
they're very separated that way.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. And it's
Mm.
interesting. And when it comes to like integrating and also pattern interrupting, I wanted to show you something earlier. So I
Okay.
recently got this. I think you like it. It's this one.
Oh yeah, I got one too.
Yeah. It's the Bellicon. It's the
Hmm.
German one. It's really cool. So I just have it here in the office and in between calls, just a 1 minute or a 2 minute uh,
That's
rebutting.
perfect.
I love it, man. Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah, those are so good.
small
Gets
things
the
to keep the
gets
energy up.
gets the lymph system going, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And
Yeah, I
just
love those.
repeating your goals, listening to good music. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
super fun. And you mentioned something as well in terms of getting into the habit of investing more and spending less, which is not the it's not the rule, especially with salespeople. It's quite the
Yeah.
opposite. And so how do you invest now?
Yeah. So the thing with investing first and spending second, as salespeople, if anyone's watching this, as you're a sales guy, there's a high chance you are, right? You want a hefty savings account and a hefty investment portfolio. Full stop. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. You need that. And the reason is because you want to sell from a place of abundance. You want to sell from a place where you are comfortable and you know you're sorted, even though, yes, you do have the skill to create massive amounts of money fast, sure, right? You can pick up the phone. Daniel, you and I could easily pick up the phone next month if we wanted to put our head down and make 20 grand. You could do it. You have the skill to do it. It's not a problem. That being said, when you're in sales and you're in a company or you're in multiple offers, however it's running, you're going to go through personal cycles. Even if the company is scaling and going huge, you personally are going to have cycles. We obviously have ways to mitigate cycles and coach people through them and out of them and all that kind of stuff. But this is the underlying root why you need to invest first and spend second so that you can sell and live from a place of abundance. So it's interesting you say that because we actually, I went through a phase in my life where I went from, living on a beach, making very little money. Beach hippies don't tend to make much money, right? So didn't make a whole bunch of money to then jumping in the online space and making sales. And it took me, I think, I don't know, less than 18 months to accumulate about $1 million in commissions. And for me, I was like, my brain was exploding, right? I was like, oh my God, this is like money. I've never seen this amount of money before this fast. Um,
Mm.
and I did burn a lot of it. Now, I didn't burn it on frivolous things. I burned it on a lot of experiences for my family. So I treated my family to many, many cool things like, hey, let's go on a trip here. Hey, let me fly
Hmm.
you over there to visit this aunt and uncle. Oh, hey, you have a problem. Let me solve it for you. So I spent a lot of money that way. I'm not uh, regretful of any of those expenditures. That being
Yeah.
said, you could have probably tucked away a couple hundred grand of that somewhere and put it to work. So I learned my
Hmm.
lesson there. Now, moving forward, our team, they come to visit me here in Lugano and stuff, and we literally have a day where we talk about investing and we talk about where we're investing, what we're investing in, who our networks are, and what we do. And for me
Hmm.
personally, keeping it very simple. So, number one, having a all-weather account in a stock portfolio. So if you're
Hmm.
following Ray Dalio's all-weather account
Yeah.
strategy, that's what we
Yeah.
do, right? So
Nice.
Bashar, myself, our whole team, we all have a portfolio that looks like that, and it's great. Um,
Beautiful.
yeah, so it's doing between 8 and 10 roughly
Yeah.
percent a year, which is fine, cool. Leave it there
Yeah.
forever, not a problem. You can take loans against it. It's stable, great. Here in Switzerland, obviously gold is a pretty
Hmm.
cool thing around here. So You can
Yes.
hike up in the mountains and get yourself a vault behind some cliff, right? When you become very wealthy. But until then, you can just go to the banks here, the local banks, Raiffeisen and UBS, and you can just buy gold bars. So you can
Hmm.
go buy some gold bars there, leave them with them, or bring them home, put them over here in your bookshelf where nobody knows they are except everybody who's watching this now. So some gold, right?
Yeah.
I love crypto, so I do invest in crypto.
Hmm.
I haven't invested in it lately because I did it quite heavily back in the day when it was very low. So I have a pretty
Hmm.
substantial amount just growing and sitting there. Moving forward, when we have family and kids, when they are born, I'll definitely put a Bitcoin in one of the wallets and tuck it away under their pillow for 20 years type thing.
Nice.
So I love that. I've already got that set up on cold storage. I'll just give it to them whenever they come around.
Hmm.
Um, and private equity, of course, is a more risky side of things. Um, I have a few private equities, nothing crazy. The largest and most substantial private equity investment that I have right now is with School with Sam Ovens.
Hmm.
So I
Yeah.
was fortunate enough to be part of that first round, friends and family, and I
Nice.
pushed in, multiple six figures into there. So I'm
Yeah.
pretty excited about that IPO and how
Yeah.
that's going to go. And more than anything, it's just very cool to be invested in the platform that most people are using these days in our industry. That's the best part.
Yeah.
When that thing flips out 5 or 6x later, I'll be very happy with that as well. But the bigger piece is you're investing into one of your friends' softwares that is actually disrupting the industry, and you can be part of that journey with them, and of course, make a profit at the same time. You never want to invest in something, in my opinion, that you don't understand or that you're not
Hmm.
personally involved with, right? So,
Yeah.
if you have an iPhone, invest in Apple. You drive a Tesla, invest in Tesla. Like that's sort of how I think.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. And I have a similar portfolio. And it's interesting because most salespeople, even me, like a few years ago when I first started in the online space, I was just spending so much on unnecessary things. And again, no regrets. That's how we learn. But still, I see most salespeople don't even have a stock portfolio. Why do you think that is? Is it just ignorance? Is it something else? Or
I think it depends on which salespeople you're talking about, right? So if we're talking about internet info space, sort of biz op or high ticket closer space,
yeah.
yeah, I would say ignorance because I'd say 95% of the people who came into this industry don't have a entrepreneurial or business background, right? They were someone who
Hmm.
wanted to make money online. They probably tried a bunch of different things and they stuck with sales because it made money. They can pick up the skill. It's not hard to do. Sales is not hard.
Hmm.
It's an energy game. So people can make great money at it with relatively low skill, in my opinion. And I think it's not like a super sophisticated person that needs to become a high ticket closer. And that sounds kind of maybe bad, but it's true in my opinion. So if you're saying salespeople don't have investments, it depends who you're talking about. So I'll give you an
Yeah.
example.
Yeah. For sure.
I was at Mar-a-Lago a couple weeks ago, right? At
Yeah.
Trump's
I was gonna
place
ask you
at
about
Pavat,
it.
yeah, at Pavat
Mhm.
David's um, sales leadership summit. It was awesome. I think one of your teammates was there, the guy with the mustache.
Yeah. Yeah. Joey. Yeah. Yeah.
Joey,
Really
okay,
cool guy.
yeah. I actually
Hmm.
saw him. I saw a dude with a crazy mustache. I never talked to him or anything. I just when I saw the
Hmm.
picture of you with him, I was like, I actually recognize that mustache. I think I saw that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really cool dude.
So it was very cool. I bought the VIP package, so I got to stay on the property and go to the dinners and stuff with Pat and get to know him and stuff. It was very
Nice.
cool. But one of the things that one of my big takeaways there was raise your standards, like just straight up raise your standards. So I'm sitting at a table at the VIP dinner with some of his top insurance salespeople in the nation, right? And
Mm.
folks who have built out insurance companies and sold them and exited. And it's like, yeah, my exit was 400 million. My exit was 200 million. Oh yeah, our run rate right now is about, I don't know, 50 mil or so right now. Oh, we're at about 100 mil, this, that, and the other thing. Okay, cool. What kind of investment portfolios do you have? Because that was my number one question for almost every single person. It's like, where are you putting your money?
Hmm.
And every single one of them had a very extensive, robust investment portfolio because they're very
Mm.
sophisticated humans. So again, it depends who you're
Hmm.
talking to. Um, One of my missions personally, because again, slightly older in the biz op sort of sales industry. I'm 43 years old. I've had a pretty
Hmm.
colorful background. One of my sort of personal missions is when salespeople come into into our company, especially now that I've sort of seen the landscape after 3 or 4 years of leading these people. one of my missions is to make sure when you come in, not only do you get rich from commissions and you're doing very well here, like you need to be set up for life now. And
Hmm.
so in the onboarding, we literally have an investment, an entire block. And Bashar talks about what he does. You know, he has millions of dollars invested. We bring in
Hmm.
investment people um, that are very sophisticated, coaching the team on that
Nice.
stuff because we know the long play. Number one, it's like when you come around our hemisphere, my goal is for you to
Hmm.
make a bunch of money and be fulfilled, but also understand how to set yourself up long term. And in doing so, you're going to have an abundance minded team who is set up long term.
Yeah.
And if they go separate ways, they go to a different offer, they change industries, they decide to do their own coaching program, whatever it may be, at
Hmm.
least I help build a foundation for you that I hope lasts a long
Mm.
time. And it's around stability and sophistication and actually, setting yourself up well, not just sort of burn and turn,
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome, and I think it's probably the first time I've heard something like that in a sales team, actually educating, giving options, bringing someone to coach them and help them invest better. And it's also interesting because you've built a very tight core team, like of OGs, people that I worked with back in the day. Very also humble, just hardworking guys who are,
Yeah.
cracking on every day on the phones. Even though, like most of the online companies, obviously there are many storms that need to be weathered and people that come and go. So besides, for instance, helping them with their investments and helping them set themselves up long term, what else do you feel helps build that like core team that just weathers the inevitable storms?
I think there's like a there's an energy that the leadership needs to bring and the team needs to feel it. So a good saying is that love is a verb. It sounds cheesy, but it's true. Love is a verb. It takes action to actually resonate love and to put it out and to get it back from people. It's a verb. It
Hmm.
takes activity.
Yeah.
And so I feel like for people to have longevity and actually want to work around other people, they need to feel the love. And
Hmm.
so as a leader, like there's love languages per se for salespeople, especially, right?
Yeah.
Some of the love languages that I've recognized over time is, instead of empowering people, saying like you are powerful, and I'm going to open a space for you here to, show us what you got. You
Hmm.
know how it was when you were working here, right? It's like I'm the last person who's going to be like, don't do that. It's more like, dude, do whatever you want to do, and we'll see how it works out, right?
Yeah.
So
100%.
the energy is, I need you to show up as your best self for yourself
Hmm.
first. And so if we're talking about habits and values, which we do a ton of work around values,
Hmm.
and the person's living their best life that way, then they can come to work and they're like, oh, this is actually where I get my energy versus having to go elsewhere to get energy, right? You see a lot of people, it's like, oh, I'm done work. I'm going to go like recharge for the weekend at a spa or whatever. That's great. I love spas
Hmm.
too. But it's like, that shouldn't be the recharge. Recharge should be when you're around your team.
Hmm.
I should be your charge. If I'm not your charge, there's
Mm.
a problem here, right? You should be charging me. I should be charging you. We should be giving each
Yeah.
other power right now. So there's a few things to do that for as a leader. So it's like making sure people understand that you want them to be their best for themselves, giving recognition, right?
Hmm.
Praise. So there's different types of praise, right? There's private praise, one-on-one
Hmm.
type stuff. There's public praise, which is very powerful. And I think the most powerful is behind the back praise. So, imagine how good it feels when
Mm.
it's like, um, have you seen how so and so did XYZ the other day? That was amazing. Man, he's really doing well these days with his kids and his family. Like, I love what he's doing over there. And then that
Yeah.
guy goes and tells him, man, Aaron was saying that he's really impressed with the way you're handling your divorce, for example, right? And that guy hears that through a third party. To me, that's the most powerful praise there can be. And it
Yeah.
also is providing space for other people to talk positively behind each other's back. And it creates this culture of, helping each other rather than hurting.
Yeah.
Um, I think if people have like clear direction, so very clear goals, precise,
Hmm.
measurable. If you're casting a wide vision that they can fit their vision inside of, right? So the CEO has to have a vision that me as an executive director can fit my vision in. And me as the leader of the sales department, okay, there's managers and leaders and then team. It's like my vision has to be big enough for you to fit your vision inside. And if it's not, then there's nowhere for people to go, right? Um, Obviously connecting people to their why. So we do a ton of
Hmm.
work around that. Our whole team knows what everyone's goals are. We literally have
Hmm.
slideshows and stuff about them. It's like I
Yeah.
know his goals, I know what his wife wants, I know everything about everybody, and everybody knows everything about everybody. And that way it's like, hey bro, you had a hat trick today. Like Raul had a hat trick
Hmm.
2 or 3 days ago. It's like, hey bro, you had a hat trick today. And you can see in the comments, you'll see setters and admin and people coming underneath talking about his big why. It's like, oh dude, that's like almost 3K in commission. That's really gonna help you do ABC.
Hmm.
And it's like boom, that's the energy right there. Obviously inclusion, right, feeling involved in things. So it's like, hey guys, I need your help. I have this problem I'm trying to solve. I have this and this. Who can help me? Who wants to step up? Because people really want to feel included, and it gives you a sense of worthiness or something internally. It's like I helped the mission, right?
Yeah.
Challenging and accountability.
Hmm.
I mean, those are some of the bigger things that I found um, builds the core energy that the team needs from the leader so that the people are happy to stay and that the people are happy to contribute and they're happy to give to the people around them, which is that energy cycle I keep talking about.
Yeah. Well, that's a mini workshop and a class on leadership right there. Several really good golden nuggets. Inclusion, recognition. I remember back in the day, obviously, the executive team and the CEO, they was very generous and in terms of rewarding the top producers and getting together in person and all that. Good times. What would you say to like a young sales leader, for instance, who's up and coming, starting to lead people, uh, starting to build a whole team of setters and closers, or I guess talking to yourself in hindsight as a younger sales guy coming up, what other advice would you give someone who's getting started?
Yeah. The first thing, and I think in giant bold letters, is that it's hard. It's hard. People that you see in the industry that are making 10, 20, 30, 50, 100K a month in sales, they didn't get there because it's easy. And if it was easy, everybody would be there, right? And
Hmm.
it's even harder to lead a team, right? It's very hard. So if you're the type of person like me or like Daniel, and you're thinking to yourself, I like hard shit. Hard shit makes me strong. Hard shit
Hmm.
gives me the challenge that I need to turn into the man or woman that I want to become, right? I'm becoming the best version of myself through pain and adversity. If you have that frame, you will love sales because it's going to be super hard. You're going to learn a ton. It's going to challenge you. It's going to be one of the hardest things you'll ever do in your life, in my opinion. Now, I know earlier I said sales is easy. What I mean there is the scripting and the all the stuff like the actual like the play-by-play of sales is easy. Make a
Hmm.
phone call, connect with someone, make them an offer, help them step out of their way and take some money.
Hmm.
That's easy.
Yeah.
What's hard is being consistent, and this is where most people fall off. They have a hard month or a hard week, they get down on themselves, they start losing their habits and they quit or they start offer hopping thinking that the grass is greener when in reality all companies are going through cycles all the time. So you're better to
Yeah.
stick and ascend and grow and turn into a leader. So the first thing is sales is hard. The second thing, um, and this might not be true out of the gate for a lot of people, but money takes time. You will hear some people that's like, yeah, I just started sales and I've already made 10K my first second month. It does happen for sure.
Hmm.
But what I'm saying is more like the longer, more predictable money, it takes time. When you can get yourself in a position for overrides or reoccurring MRR type stuff, if you can get yourself
Hmm.
in that type of a position, it takes time. You have to negotiate your way there. You need to earn your way there. You need to rise up as a leader. And creating that sort of different streams of income from one role, it will take time. So the bigger money takes time. Um, and you have to be patient, but you have to be persistent, right? So you have to push hard but you have to also be patient knowing it's going to take a minute to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you're going to have sleepless nights, right? And you're going to have nights where you feel unworthy. You're going to have that feeling of like, am I good enough? Am I a failure? You know, you're going to have days where you had someone that you could have closed or enrolled and you couldn't do it because you just couldn't get them over the line. Something happened,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to feel really bad about it. You're going to feel really bad. You're going to be like, fuck that person, man. If they could get into this program, they could make that extra 2 grand a month that could allow them to be with their kids, and they're not getting in there now because of me. And you're going to have moments like that where you like are
Mm-hmm.
down on yourself because you're not helping, because you're going to blame yourself for your skill level. I
Yeah.
would argue it's not your skill, it's your energy. Um, and I guess the last piece would be in line with this podcast. It's 100% you. Like it's your habits,
Mm-hmm.
it's your lifestyle, it's who you are as a person. Are you always self-developing? Are you living a holistic lifestyle? Are you implementing different pillars in your life, health, wealth, spirituality, all that? Are you implementing these in your life and being consistent? And then are you transferring this into your sales job? Because if you are, you'll have immense success. The sky's the limit. People will want to be around you. You'll be a leader. People will throw money at you on the phone. It's like people just want to be around high vibe people.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you become a high vibe person, you'll do well. If you are always down on yourself, if you're very negative, if you're not doing the inner work, you'll struggle.
Yeah.
And I would argue you struggle in life in general, but in sales even more, because I think it's the only role in a company where you really have to be switched on 24/7. An accountant can be depressed and still crunch numbers, right? A marketer can still
Yeah.
put together some copywriting. It won't be as good, but they can still put it together, maybe. A coach, okay, a fulfillment coach, they need to be on their game. But like sales,
Mm-hmm.
man, you're talking to people that are scared. They've never invested in themselves before, or maybe it's a B2B and it's a massive, like it's a $500,000 contract and you're working on it for
Mm-hmm.
3 months. If you're not switched on, there's no way that the person's going to align with you for them to make that decision to be like,
Yeah.
yeah, I want to be with this person on something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, 100%. Connected to your certainty, connected to that future vision, and obviously people feel the energy and they feel the confidence and the
Yeah.
ability to be led
Mm.
into a better future. And so as we wrap it up today, because something that I've noticed as well is, and even in some at some stages for me even, you kind of hit plateaus and you hit kind of certain ceilings in sales, and some people they just get complacent or they get stuck. So, how do you keep that hunger alive? And for you, at this point in your career, what keeps you energized to keep pushing
Yeah,
forward?
that's an awesome question. So there's kind of two parts, right? So firstly, me personally, what keeps me hungry and alive is just setting my family up like everybody else. It's very interesting, isn't it? It's like the same answer as all the prospects give. But it's the truth. It's the truth. I want my family to live their best life. I want my kids to be in a safe environment where they can learn and thrive. I want my wife to never have to worry about working or money or any of that. She's been retired for 4 years now, and she's living her best life. She's on the deck right now reading a book, pregnant. It's like this is my dream. So
Beautiful.
that's my why. There's no question about that. It's that. When family comes to visit or when we go places, and I want to be the uncle who can just make it happen. Or if something happens in our family, and it has happened multiple times now, it's like there's a problem. Um, I want to be the person people know they can call, and I'm not going to ask what's going on. I'm going to ask how much and like what's the
Yeah.
wire information. I want to be that
Hmm.
person, and that's it for me. That's all.
Yeah.
Boats and cars and stuff. I love all that shit. I love it. I'm never going to say I don't like material stuff. I absolutely like material stuff. I think it's cool. It's fun. And I want all that stuff too. So I got a lot of whys, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's all good. I have no reason to stop. I love money, and money is
Yeah.
power, and it helps you with everything you need in life. It's the best. It's energy for sure. Um, how do you stay hungry when you hit a plateau as a salesperson? So that's a different sort of animal. Depends on the
Hmm.
person, obviously. But for me, with our sales guys, and I think you probably saw this when you were working with us a little bit because you made great money pretty quickly as well. A
Hmm.
lot of people, when they hit like the 20K, 25K, 30K mark per month, especially up and around that area, is really where people tend to slow down or put the pedal to the metal. So 10K, everyone with 10K a month, it's like 10K is not enough money in this world. 20K, yes, 30K, you're being pretty free now at 30K. So when you get to that limit, I see one of two things happen. Someone takes their foot off the gas, kind of puts their feet up a little bit,
Hmm.
or they're like, "Oh my God, this is life changing. Like accelerate and just clean house as much as possible."
Yeah.
And so my whole thing with our team or with anybody who asks me this question or I talk to people or like, "Oh, money or whatever." My whole thing
Hmm.
is, and I have it literally tattooed on my leg, make money when the make hay when the sun shines. Make hay when the sun shines. I have that written in Thai down my leg. I got that in one of my beach adventures I was talking about. And it's a saying that
Hmm.
my mom always used to say when I was a kid. And it just simply means, when the sun's shining, make sure you're growing a lot of hay. So take advantage of a situation when it's on because it's not always sunny.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
make hay when the sun shines. So for our team, if someone's, stacking cash, which is pretty regular occurrence, I'm
Hmm.
like, it won't always be this way, bro. You're going to have months back to back to back where you make less than that, way less. And what happens
Yeah.
in that month if your family goes through something? What if your something gets sick? What if this? What if that? So it's a combination of take advantage and always have this healthy paranoia behind you, which sounds a bit dark, but it's that. It's like the future is looking great. We're doing awesome. Let's keep doing that and stacking it up and doing well and impacting. But healthy paranoia, dude, shit can go down. So
Yeah.
prepare yourself. And if you have those two things combined with your why in the middle, I don't think there's any reason to stop.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's a powerful vehicle and a good gear to basically keep pushing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's so much. Like as you say, it's something that I love about you is your imagination, your creativity, and there's just so much cool stuff that we can do. Especially when you've also traveled and you've seen different things, you've talked to different people, different cultures. Like you realize actually just I don't know shit, and there's just so much cool things to do and to create and it's just we're just getting started, so I love it, man. Again, I appreciate you coming on and super excited for you and your family and all the new surprises that are coming around the corner. So look forward to seeing your family growing as well, and looking forward to visiting you, because I know that we travel often, so it'll be cool to pay you a visit.
But yeah, man. You're welcome to come sit by the lake and have a barbecue any day of the week, man. We're here for you. It's been a
Nice.
pleasure.
Beautiful, man. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.